What's up, kinfolk? Welcome back to another episode of Bubba and the Old Man. Minus the Old Man, he's at work right now. So I'm going to do a mock draft. We did a mock draft on the podcast like last Sunday, but it didn't go great. It was kind of the thing that we did on the spot. So I'm going to do a new one now. The green screen might be acting up. It's really wrinkly. So I believe in the first round, the Packers, chances are they're going to end up trading up because we've done it like the past three years. We ended up trading up. But if we stay at 29 and this guy falls to us, I think it'd be the perfect pick, and that's Caleb Farley, cornerback out of Virginia Tech. Now this guy, minus the injury, would have probably been first guy taken in the draft because everybody loves their athleticism. He ran a blazing 4.28, I believe, like at his pro day or something. But that's obviously unofficial. It's probably like more like a 4.3 something. But that's obviously still blazing as a corner. He's 6'2", and he's a freakish athlete. Now, obviously, he has a lot of inexperience at corner, which obviously raises red flags for Packer fans because of Josh Jackson. But I think with corner being our number one need going into the draft, in my opinion, this is the perfect pick. Now, his freshman year, he had 36 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 picks, which is phenomenal. I don't know if he was a redshirt freshman or if he was a true freshman. But then his sophomore year, which is the year before this past one, he sat out. He had 4 interceptions, which is phenomenal. You know, a guy that big with that athleticism and his coverage ability, which obviously needs a little bit of work, but it's still really good considering he was a receiver coming out of high school. That's phenomenal for him to be able to have hands like a receiver, and he would be perfect to put at number 2 corner beside Jair Alexander. Feels like I'm sweating. It's because it's hotter than Satan's dick in here. Now, in the second round, I got us finally getting another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. Now, we had to take a receiver first or second round because outside of like Devontae Adams, there's not another receiver that is going to be on the roster that's on the roster right now. So we had to, and I got us going out and getting Amon-Ra St. Brown from USC. Phenomenal receiver. Now, St. Brown's best year was as a sophomore. He had 77 catches, 1,042 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's a phenomenal year. He was a sophomore that year. And then this past year, he only played in 6 games, 41 receptions, 478 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's still a really solid season. And for him to be in the second round, this is a phenomenal, what's it called? This is great value. Second round, that's what that means. It's phenomenal. So now I'm editing this, and why the hell am I saying phenomenal so much? And as a punt returner, as a sophomore, he had 12 punt returns for 66 yards. Stop touching the air so much. You look like a damn femboy. We know how much of a problem it was outside of Tyler Ervin for us to get somebody to be able to return the football. So that's great. And next, third round, I got us addressing the linebacker problem at Green Bay with Dylan Moses. Now, Dylan Moses, he did tend to look lost at times. My dad talked about this a lot on the podcast. He had the Giants taking him. He did tend to look lost a lot, and he's had a few injury issues. He missed his junior year. He came back, and then last year, he didn't look phenomenal. Phenomenal. But he's got a lot of talent coming out. He was an athlete coming out of high school, so he wasn't strictly a linebacker. But leading Alabama defense, he had 76 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. And over his college career, he's had 2 picks, 1 last year and then 1 his freshman year. Now, Dylan Moses, great athlete. Big body, 6'3", 240. But I think he'll be a great pickup in the third round, another great value pick. And him playing alongside Chris Barnes will be great. Him, Chris Barnes, and Kamal Martin at the middle linebacker position. I think definitely Chris Barnes is going to be the Mike going into next year. And him and Dylan Moses and Kamal Martin, who also played very well when he got in last year, had some bad moments, but tended to look pretty well. I think that'll be great to have some more competition in the linebacker room. You know, Ty Summers, more of a special teams guy in my opinion. And Dylan Moses, I think, could be a great linebacker in Green Bay. Now I have us addressing the offensive tackle issue. Now, obviously, Billy Turner did a solid job last year at right tackle. He did struggle at left tackle in the NFC Championship game. And obviously, Bach might not be back for a while at the beginning of the season. So I have Walker Little coming in to be either just right tackle in the meantime so that Bach can come back healthy. And when Bach comes back, eventually taking over that right tackle position after Billy Turner is gone. Now, he may go into the season automatically win the right tackle position. So I think that's great. It gives us insurance at that right tackle position. And I think that right tackle is more of a need than interior offensive line because obviously Lucas Patrick played solid. John Runyon played solid when he got in the game. And obviously Elton Jenkins is one of the best guards in the game, if not the best. So I think right tackle, that's the biggest hole. Plug somebody there. Now on to the defensive line front where a lot of Green Bay's problems show up in the run game. Now here's a defensive tackle from Florida State named Marvin Wilson, who was one of the most highly touted defensive tackles going into this season. And I think he probably should have sat out because there wasn't much for him to gain because he was already one of the top defensive tackles on the board. That's my dog. But he came in, he played 6 games, only had 17 tackles, 2 for loss and 1 sack, which is not great considering the fact that he's more of a pass rushing D tackle. He didn't play well. But I think this could be a good replacement for Dean Lowry, who I think inevitably will be gone soon. You'll have Kingsley Keke, Kenny Clark, and then you could probably slide him in at the right end there. I think that would be great. I'd love to keep Kingsley Keke. He showed a lot of promise so far. And I think this is just a good pick, good value pick in the 4th round. Now here I'm going with a position that the Packers have had success with late in the draft, and that's offensive line. Now the Packers need depth in the interior of the offensive line, especially since we lost Lane Taylor most recently, and we've lost Corey Linsley, and then last year we lost Brian Bulaga. So I'm going to go interior offensive lineman Drake Jackson from Kentucky. Now I think Matt LaFleur does want to go a bit more run-heavy next year than he even did last year with Aaron Jones, us bringing him back on a big contract, and A.J. Dillon being a bowling ball. So we're going to put him behind Drake Jackson and the rest of the interior offensive line. Next season, it's looking like we're going to have maybe like Lucas Patrick at center. John Runyon, who played very well when he got in last year at right guard. Drake Jackson, he's just going to offer a lot of depth there. We tend to have issues with injuries on the offensive line. So I think this will be a good value pick here at center. A guy who went to a very run-heavy offense in Kentucky. So I just think it'll be a good pick here. Now here I was taking Puka Williams from Kansas. This may end up being the steal of the draft. This guy radiates Aaron Jones energy. I think he'll be great. He had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, freshman, sophomore. He did not do well his junior year, though. Only 4 games, 51 carries, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. But this is the type of player that Matt LaFleur loves to have. Puka Williams is the definition of a weapon. And every time Matt LaFleur hears the word weapon, he just has an orgasm. A guy who can return kicks, and it's looking like we're going to lose Tyler Ervin. So that's not good, but us bringing him in be a great replacement. A guy who can be a change of pace back, if Aaron Jones is tired or with the injury issues he's had. You can have A.J. Dillon. But he can't really catch the ball very well, so you can throw in Puka Williams. It'll be great. And he'll be great on those screens, running the routes that Tyler Ervin and players like that have had to run. And he'll probably mainly be a return specialist, but that's cool. I don't think we're going to bring back Tavon Austin, even if we do. He'll be more young, less brittle. Now, here's a player who went to my current high school and went to my favorite college, and that's K.J. Britt out of Auburn. A middle linebacker who's going to add a lot of depth and could even take the reins if we really wanted him to. Now, this is definitely a bias for me. He probably won't even be here, but KJ Britt out of Auburn, 6 foot, 243, very good athlete, and was the key to the Kevin Steele-led 2019 Auburn defense. That ended up being very good and was one of the best against the LSU Tigers. He was key to that defense. War Eagle. Now we're getting to the people I don't really know a lot about. Cole Van Lanen out of Wisconsin. He's a big guy, 6'5", 312. He's got a quick first step, but for basically what I've heard, he doesn't have really long arms or anything like that. So I think he'll probably end up moving into guard. And he's just a warm body. He's depth on the offensive line. He'll be solid. Now we have the last pick for the Green Bay Packers in the NFL draft. This is a guy who signed with my Auburn Tigers, didn't end up really panning out, but is so filled with potential, and that's Calvin Ashley, a former 5-star offensive tackle, ended up having to transfer to Florida A&M. I still think he is so talented. If he can get into our building, be with our offensive line coaches, I think we could form him into a phenomenal offensive tackle. It was the last pick that we had. So, I mean, like, why not take a chance on it, you know? Now, that's it for me. So, y'all drop y'all's opinions down below. Do y'all think I suck? I might. But either way, tune back in next time. War Eagle. Selena, go!
Oh.
Stop!